The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Glory to you, O Lord. Jesus withdrew toward the sea with his disciples. A large number of people followed from Galilee and from Judea, hearing what he was doing. A large number of people came to him also from Jerusalem, from Idumea, from beyond the Jordan, and from the neighborhood of Tyre and Sidon. He told his disciples to have a boat ready for him because of the crowd, so that they would not crush him. He had cured many, and as a result, those who had diseases were pressing upon him to touch him. And whenever unclean spirits saw him, they would fall down before him and shout, "You are the Son of God." He warned them sternly not to make him known. The Gospel of the Lord. Yeah, there's a lot going on, not just in the gospel passage, but I think so much of what we're meant to hear in the gospel is also echoing in our first reading, and as I've said, the letter to the Hebrews really powerful. At least is striking me in a very powerful way. As we're making our way through it, yes, the letter to the Hebrews it does, as we heard, I think, focuses on Jesus's priesthood, and it's such a powerful theme at the beginning, as we hold it together with the beginning of the Gospel of Mark, because Jesus is doing the work of renewing God's image bearers, and God's image bearers are themselves a kingdom of priests. So we've heard already twice in the letter to the Hebrews the recollection, "You are a priest forever, like Melchizedek of old," right? In the pattern of Melchizedek, all this kind of language, okay? In the letter to the Hebrews, we've heard it twice, not today, but we've heard it twice. And we are meant ourselves to reflect on and receive and embody the fact that our priesthood is eternal. Now we take this. I don't know if this isn't like the church proper in terms of her doctrinal teaching. But it certainly is like level in particular places of, I think reasonable piety. We kind of kick it around in seminaries because we're kind of on our journey to being ordained. We say we talk about the ontological change that is brought about by someone's ordination, and say you are a priest forever. And I think that it's a silly thing, but I had a friend who, I think he had it tattooed on his chest, like, "You are a priest forever," I don't think he lasted a year in the priesthood, but there are better and worse ways to embody these things, but you are a priest forever. And by virtue of your call, right? You are a priest forever. And this is the priesthood of the baptized. I mean, if we don't get the priesthood of the baptized right, we're not going to get the priesthood of the priesthood right. You are a priest forever. You were made to be God's renewed. Jesus has renewed you as God's image bearer, and that means that you are a royal priesthood. You're a kingdom of priests, the people of God. You're a kingdom of priests. You're made to offer everything you have and everything you are to God. Yes, through and with and in Jesus. But you have to make an offering of your life. That's your priesthood. You have to offer sacrifice, the sacrifice of your heart and your life to God. And then you're to live as his king, or queen. You have to live as his good steward with the power that he provides. And this is so much of what's going on. Anyway, this is, can I say, that's a second level reflection for me. You can tell I'm struggling this week because the homilies are very long. Believe it or not, that is a sign that I'm struggling. But I'm struggling to communicate some deep realities also that not just that are appearing in the gospel, but that are kind of bubbling up in my prayer. And it's hard to do, like, to know what the appropriate level of self-digging that requires the communication requires. So I'm struggling with it, but I have to give you one of the themes because it's just so prevalent for me, and then I see it everywhere. You know how that works, right? And to some extent, I have to trust the fact that God is leading me in that way, so that I can give you something. Do you know? So I don't know if that's to say that I'm leading you, because even as your pastor, I'm not that presumptuous, but I have to offer it to you. And this is the nature of, like, I want to say the nature of our being human beings. So the one reflection is, like, we can busy ourselves with a lot of activity, and you've probably heard some of this before. Like, we very often kind of fall into the groove of being human doings rather than being human beings, right? So we're like consumed with just like a lot of activity, but where are we? Yeah, like who am I? Where am I? So the I is important, but the I comes about by being affirmed by the other. This is a Pope Benedict reflection. The affirmation of the other is what allows that person to be an I, to be a person facing another person, or a person facing God. There's affirmation, right? So I want to go back to the very beginning of Mass and say, you were sent to heal the contrite of heart, right? We say this, Lord have mercy. Why do we say Lord have mercy? Because you were sent to heal the contrite of heart. We are the contrite of heart. Yeah, and then just in case you couldn't embrace that with real strength, that I'm contrite of heart, because I am the kind of contrite of heart. It's like I'm not the contrite of heart. Actually, I'm the kind of contrite of heart. But you came to call sinners, right? Jesus, you came to. That's why he came. Okay, that's why he came, to call sinners. So, okay, I have a hard time like embracing the fact that I'm contrite of heart, and some of the time I'm not contrite of heart. And even my reflection on like being contrite of heart, or kind of contrite of heart, is to recognize that I am a sinner. Right? It points directly into that. And just in case, we thought, oh my gosh, I'm hanging out there now, and I find myself outside of the embrace of God, or outside the love of the Trinity, because I'm only kind of contrite of heart, we have that great next petition. You came to call sinners. That's why you came. That's the whole point. I find myself here. I'm a sinner. But you already anticipated that, God, right? You already anticipated it. That's why you came. You came to call sinners. And now you are seated at the right hand of the Father to intercede for us. He lives for us. He lives to make intercession for you. Jesus lives to make intercession for you. And I mean, we got that in the reading to the Hebrews today. Okay, so this is like what I'm trying to do there is offer the fact that the church is affirming you in your personhood. And we've seen, and I've commented on all this activity in the Gospel of Mark. We didn't really start where we should have started. And so the Gospel of Mark begins with the preaching of John the Baptist, but very soon thereafter, you have Jesus' baptism, where, again, the voice, right, God the Father marks out in Jesus' baptism the fact that Jesus is his beloved Son. The beginning of the gospel, the initiation of all this kind of torrid action that we see, and this amazing renewed image-bearing mission that Jesus has come to effect, begins with his being affirmed by his Father. Right? And I don't have the proper language, because I read so many translations of the scriptures, but one of my favorite ones to land on is say, you are my dear, dear child. With you I am well pleased. And actually, and more than that, you are my dear, dear child. I delight in you. And this is like the heart of my prayer now, as I feel kind of, how do you say, like untethered from some things that I have held as significant practices for me throughout my prayer. What is coming to me as I work my way through all the stuff of busy life and activity, and yes, apostolate, God is reminding me, I delight in you. He says it to me, right? I delight in you. And do you want to accept that or not? This is a challenge, yeah? He delights in you. And I'm saying that's the challenge. He delights in you. If we don't get that right, we're not going to get anything right. That's just the reality of it. So we have to get that right. We have to give it due time. And again, because this I delight in you is an affirmation of who you are and who you're made to be. And it's not then, look, God is not conceding the point, right? So I went back to the beginning of Mass. It's not like we don't have room to grow or become. We are becoming. We have to be renewed as his image bearers. And he's the one to effect that renewal. Even now, yes, even now. But he wants to. But he can only effect that renewal of our image bearing if we allow ourselves to be affirmed as his beloved children. So this is where we start. Then of course we see all the rest. We see the activity and the rest. There's a ton to say about this gospel passage, but it's Jesus affecting his renewed image-bearing mission, and he's there, right, person to person, heart to heart, to make it happen, and the crowds press on him from everywhere, right? How much excitement and the rest as he enacts that healing mission. Yeah, but the excitement again is a second or third order reality. The first order reality is that I can say I'm an I, which is so difficult, I think, in the world today. I have to say I'm an I, but I find my I in being God's beloved child, in being affirmed in my existing. It's so basic, in my existing, by the God who loves me and, yes, my friends, delights in me.